I'm not jealous. No. I can tell you I'm not, no, not really. But I mean, 60,000 people coming to hear somebody who can't even speak English properly. I mean, no. He's an extraordinary human being. And I've frequently had to tell him, shh, 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 shh. The cameras are on us now. Try to behave like a holy man. But Tibet, Sri Lanka, I mean, as we sit here, women are being raped as a weapon of war in the universe of a good God, of an omnipotent God. Look at Somalia, Sudan, Darfur, Georgia, Gaza. I was there about 2 months ago, and it's really unbelievable, the things that we do to one another. And yes, that is God's world. What a heck of a mess. I tell you another story of this traveler who is walking through the countryside, and he stops at a cornfield. There's a farmer who's surveying this cornfield, swaying gently in the breeze. And the traveler stands alongside the farmer, and after a while he says, "Gee, what a fantastic job you and God have accomplished. Just look at this." And the farmer says, "Yeah, but you should have seen what it was like when God had it all to himself." Isn't it extraordinary that God, whom most of us believe to be omnipotent, can actually be so utterly impotent? God wants to perform the miracle of feeding that hungry one. So far as I can make out, it has not been by samosas floating down from heaven or hamburgers. For God to be able to perform that miracle of feeding that hungry one, God has to wait on human collaborators, human partners. It's an incredible thing that God succeeds or fails to the extent that we succeed or fail. And so when that hungry one is fed, then God says, yes, the miracle I wanted has happened. I was shocked, but I'm sure you weren't. But I was shocked the other day. My rector, I've stopped preaching now, I'm retired, and I sit in the pew and I listen to fantastic sermons. And our rector is a young He's a young man, and he said, you know, last night I was watching, he says, BBC. And BBC on this particular program was talking about the agricultural subsidies that are paid by the EU. I'm not very good at statistics, but this particular statistic is one that even I can remember. And shocking. That the EU pays $2.50 a day for each cow. $2.50 daily for a cow. I love cows. But aren't you the people who are always saying there are how many people who live on less than $1 a day? And God looks, and God looks down there. And you know what? God cries. God cries. God cries and says, what in the heck ever got into me to create that lot? And you see, God has no one. God has absolutely no one except you. Did you know that? That is what God has sent me to tell you. God has sent me to say to you, you are fantastic human beings. I mean, I could talk to you about collaboration, and we are a particular example here in South Africa of the cooperation between the local and the global. And an example of how you can turn a desert into a gorgeous garden. For as you know, we've only recently come out of one of the most vicious systems of oppression, apartheid. You know, they didn't make bones at all about the fact that it was separate and unequal. It didn't bother them to put up signs that said, dogs and natives us, not allowed. That they had no subtlety at all. We come from there.